everybody's in.
All right. So, as we were saying, it's the 2012 Missouri Writers Guild Conference, the late Friday night session. We are here with the incomparable Christie Craig, who is now officially a New York Times bestseller. So
Thank
congratulations there. Excellent. We have just a few questions for you, and we thank you so much for being a part of this. So, do you want to start, Teresa?
We wanted to talk a little bit about agents, because of course that's on everybody's mind. What are some of the best ways that you can go about finding an agent?
I compare finding an agent to finding a boyfriend or a husband.
Okay.
And it can be very difficult. You wouldn't just go out and marry the first guy you met. You really need to figure out if you can live with them and if you're comfortable and you can deal with each other, because agents are going to be very important. They're going to work with you. There are different kinds of agents. There are different hats that agents wear. And so you need to make sure you have an agent who will wear the kind of hat that you need them to wear and don't mind wearing the hat for as long as you need them. In other words, some agents edit, some agents don't. Some agents won't even read your manuscript. They're just going to like your work from the little bit they've read and they're going to send it out. Do you need an agent that will read your work, will help you edit? Do you need an agent who's going to hold your hand when things come back not so good? Do you need an agent that's very blunt, that's going to tell you how it is? You need to figure out what kind of agent that you need.
How did you find this out? Was this by kissing a lot of frogs?
Oh, definitely. Unfortunately, I've kissed a few. And I don't think, you know, it's sort of like husbands. Again, we kiss a few before we figure out who we want to marry. You shouldn't marry them before you know you can kiss them.
Someone had told me that earlier on.
Are we talking agents or husbands?
Never mind.
Yes, I mean, I think that it's important to know who they are, and it's important to ask them a lot of questions. It really is important to know who you're working with. I recommend everyone, before they sign a contract with an agent, to talk to several of that agent's clients, because you want to know what kind of agent are they. I also recommend that you, RWA is one organization that I belong to, and I know there are several others that you can actually check to see any complaints that have been made on this particular agent. Now, you should not take them all to heart, because we have a tendency as writers to get our feelings hurt when an agent doesn't sell us. And unfortunately, an agent can't sell a manuscript. It's got to be the manuscript that sells itself. What an agent can do is submit it to the right editors and get it in front of the kind of editors, because that's the number one thing that is important. An agent knows the editors. For me, I write romantic comedy. My agent knew who liked romantic comedy in this different publishing house. She wouldn't send it to someone who was a very serious editor and didn't like romantic comedies. So this is an agent's job, is to get you in front of the right editor. So but we can't get mad at them for not selling your manuscript. Your manuscript has to sell it yourself.
Okay. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
That is. Truly.
Let's see, we were looking at also, I guess, you know, sometimes there's a breakup and they don't work out. You've actually found the perfect agent, but for some reason something happens. So what do you do then?
Get a divorce.
Oh,
just like you do.
Just like that. There you go.
Just like that. It's a little bit easier, actually. No alimony or nothing like that. You'll be happy to know. But actually, and every agent has a different contract. So you need to know what kind of contract you have, because every agent is going to depend on your contract on how you're going to break up. Some agents, just all they want you to do is tell them, I don't want to be with you anymore. Some agents actually require a registered letter saying we are, terminating this contract. Some agents only represent you for one book. Some agents represent everything you write, and that's why it's so important to know the contract with the agent, because it is going to be, it's going to depend on what kind of contract you sign to how you're going to get out of a relationship.
I didn't realize there was that much variation.
There really is. And another tip that I recommend for everyone, even after you sign with an agent, something important to know, is an agent has a clause in your contract with your publisher. And you will need to actually contact this. You will actually need to read this clause very carefully, because there might be something in that clause in the publishing contract that has something to do with you and your agent. So you need to be very careful. It's just like picking a husband. You need to know who you're marrying and the type of relationship.
And their family, huh?
And their mother-in-laws. I mean, and it's just having an agent is very much like a marriage in the fact that there's a honeymoon period. Then you get that itch.
Okay.
I know. Do I really love you? You find out. Yeah, they leave their dirty socks around or something like this, and you go, and I didn't know you did that. So, it's really important to know who you sign a contract with, because it is very important to know who they are and to know if they can work with you. And ask questions. And it's also important to know that an agent works for you. I love my agent, but we went through all the stages as well as a writer who hadn't sold anything in a while. We went through all those stages, and we've come through shining.
Absolutely.
And that's what's important. It is a relationship, and it is going to require work, just like a marriage does. You can't just, and communication is so important. Even my agent often says to me, if you don't like something, speak up, because if you don't say what you're not happy with or what you're happy with, they're not going to know. And then if you suddenly say to them, I want out of this contract, and it's like going to your husband and saying, I want a divorce, and they're saying, well, you didn't tell me the dirty socks bothered you. I would have, I would have stopped leaving them around if you had just told me. And they need that too. They need that communication, so it's very important to communicate with them.
We actually have a question from one of our people watching online.
Oh, good.
So the question is, how much does an agent generally work with a particular manuscript before they shop it around?
And again, it varies.
What have you found?
What have I found? My first manuscript that my agent accepted was, she asked me to add a couple of scenes. And the black moment, she said, I think you need to draw it out a little bit. So it was less than, I want to say, 3 or 4 days of work to get it ready to go out. I have heard horror stories. And